एसी कौन बंद कराएगा यार?
सर आइए।
कमाल हो गई सर।
क्या हाल है? ठीक है।
बोले मैं बीपी सिंह, मैं देवी सिंह।
आइए सर।
कल आपको टीवी पर कल टीवी पे आप आ रहे थे। टीवी पे तो ये था भाई, सुभाष जी ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुलाई हुई है, तो हमारा उत्तरदायित्व है।
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस
भास्कर ने नहीं की,
ईटीवी ने दिया।
टीवी में 9:30 बजे।
हाँ, पत्रिका ने दिया। चेक कर, ये हमेशा ही ऐसा कर रहा है
वो। और जबकि वो लड़की जो देखती है
वो यही की है,
स्टूडेंट प्रेरणा कोहली।
हाँ,
उससे तो हल्की कितनी बार बात होती
सब वेलकम एंड सुभाष
प्रोफेसर देवी सिंह जी, प्रोफेसर बीपी सिंह, दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स एंड प्रोफेसर।
अच्छा, मैं एक चीज बोल रहा हूँ,
Claim University in Pune. Claim is the first liberal art school in
and your colleague Professor Raina is here.
I sent him here, yes.
Chancellor, Central University of Rajasthan, Dr. Ashok Gupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the IIS University, Dr. Rakhi Gupta, Registrar, the IIS University, Professor Subhash Garg, Dean and Director, CRIP, and Dr. Shweta Kastia, Organizing Secretary of the seminar, to kindly come forward and light the lamp. शारदी कर दे हृदय सुंदर ही सुंदर, शांति सुख के प्रगति पथ पर साथ मिल सब चल सके। शारदे वरदे कि मेरी हो जाए प्रकट, मर्म में मेरे कृपा कर, मर्म में मेरे कृपा कर, आप लाए हंस पर। शारदे वरदे कि मेरी बुद्धि हो जाए, बुद्धि हो जाए प्रकट। ability to rationally differentiate between right and wrong. The seminar aims to bring together leading academic scientists, researchers, and faculty members to share proven and innovative ideas, experiences, and perspectives about transformation in higher education. A very warm welcome to all once again. I request Dr. Ashok Gupta to extend floral greetings to our chief guest, Professor Arun K. Pujari. Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Ashok Gupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the IIS University, to deliver the welcome address.
Chief guest of this morning, Professor Arun Pujari, Professor V.P. Singh, Professor Devi Singh, Professor N.D. Mathur, Professor Tiwari, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, my colleagues, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the IIS University, I extend a very hearty welcome to all of you today when we have gathered to discuss about growth, challenges, and opportunities in higher education in 2025. This conference is being organized in collaboration with Indian Council for Social Science Research, and I'm grateful to all for having made it. The IIS University is a deemed to be university, not a very old one, but considered to be one of the premier institutions of the state, wherein we have students from almost all parts of the country, and which the Ministry of Human Resource Development has put under category A of the deemed universities which were reviewed. It is known for excellence in imparting meaningful education to students and to encourage them to think innovatively. Higher education in India is undergoing considerable change. With over 600 million people in India under 25 years of age, the system is under tremendous pressure to expand. Many trends are emerging in the key areas of science, have acted as accelerators of transformation. Educational institutions and universities should respond to the paradigm shift and adapt to the growing appetite of young India towards higher education. Across the globe, the higher education sector is an important player in introducing innovative approaches along with sustaining the economic pressures of running a large institution controlled by external factors such as rankings, increasing competition for students, and attracting intellectual faculty and confronting in-house pressures from the boards. The seminar, I am confident, will bring together leading academic scientists, researchers, and faculty members to share proven and innovative ideas, experiences, and perspectives about transformation in higher education. With these words, I once again welcome you all, especially the delegates who have come all the way from Karnataka, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and of course our own state, Rajasthan. My special gratitude to Professor Pujari with recently joined as the Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Rajasthan, for having taken pains to come here and inaugurate this seminar. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Subhash Garg, Dean and Director, Center for Research, Innovation and Training.
Namaskar. Chief guest of the inaugural session of the seminar, Professor Anup Pujari, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Rajasthan, our learned Vice Chancellor Dr. Ashok Gupta, Dr. Rakhi Gupta, Registrar, Dr. Sweta Kastia, Organizing Secretary of the seminar on the dais, and Professor Devi Singh, former Director IIM Lucknow, presently Vice Chancellor Flame University Pune, Professor BP Singh, he is from Delhi School of Economics, Delhi University, Delhi, Professor V.K. Tiwari from Jalandhar, Professor K.S. Sharma ji, Advisor of the University, Dr. M.K. Sharma, Dean of the University, and Professor Andy Mathur, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, Nidhi S. Savarwal from NUPA, and all deans, heads of the IIS University, fellow delegates, dear participants, and research scholars, media persons. It is my proud privilege to welcome you all at this inaugural session of the 2 days National Seminar on Higher Education in 2025, Growth, Challenges and Opportunity, sponsored by ICSR and organized by our university, the IIS Vice Chancellor, Central University of Rajasthan, for accepting our request. On my personal behalf, I express my sincere gratitude to you. I also welcome all the on contemporary issues in higher education. For that, we have invited, so many resource persons from every discipline of the higher education, like Professor BP Singh, Chairperson, Society for Human Transformation Research, New Delhi, like Professor Devi Singh, presently Vice Chancellor, Flame University, Professor Andy Mathur, Professor B.K. Tiwari, former General Secretary, IFUCTO, he is a teacher's representative, Professor Manju Nair, Nisha Yadav from our university, Dr. Nidhi S. Savarwal, NUPA, she is an Associate Professor in the Center for Policy Research in Higher Education, New Delhi, Professor A.N. Rai, former Vice Chancellor, Mizoram University and former Director, NET, and Professor J.K. Parida, Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Professor V.K. Shrotriya, Delhi University, Delhi, and Professor P.K. Chaube, IIPA, Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi. Dear fellow delegates, I am quite confident with the deliberation of these resource persons. Definitely this seminar will be benefited for all the delegates. Before objectives of the seminar, I'll just highlight the CRIT. CRIT at the IIS University has been established with a vision to collaborate with the industry and other organizations to undertake cross-functional research and development while developing a symbolic setup of leveraging competencies both industries and academia for societal development. And I am happy to inform you, this is the 9th endeavor of CRIT. Before that, we have organized 8 like workshops, seminars, symposias, and other conferences. This seminar aims to bring together leading academicians, researchers, policymakers to share proven and innovative ideas, experiences, and perspective about transformation in higher education, and also looks forward to explore trends, research, and innovations in higher education with a focus on several interrelated issues. For that, we have incorporated these objectives into following sub-themes: higher education in 2025, shifting dynamics; quality education, role of ICT in pedagogy; autonomy in higher education; governance, leadership and partnership; regulatory framework; accreditation, policies and norms; industries, academia linkage; private and foreign participation; infrastructure and research funding in higher education. For this seminar, we'll have 4 technical sessions. First, panel discussion. We have one panel discussion In that discussion, all resource persons, they will put their views on the higher education in 2025 shifting dynamics. Second session will be devoted to quality education. Third session will discuss governance, leadership and partnership. And fourth session will discuss and describe the infrastructure and research funding problems in higher education. I hope that the deliberations in the seminars would result in some concrete suggestions which will help the policymakers and planners to reshape the higher education in coming days. Friends, I am happy to inform you we received good response from participants coming from various parts of the country and also from our own faculty members, research scholars and lot at the university. Around 145, around 150 delegates are registered and 65 papers will be presented in these sessions. On this occasion, one seminar also will be, has been published and will be released by our Honorable Chief Guest as Seminar Director. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere thanks to the management of the IS University and for ISCSR also for all help to this initiative of ours see the light of the day. Once again, I welcome everyone and hope that the stay of our participants and resource persons here in the Pink City would be both fruitful and comfortable, and the participants will also be benefited. Once again, welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. He has also held responsible positions at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and Autocartography Cell, Survey of India. Professor Pujari was awarded doctorate from IIT Kanpur. He has wide experience as an academician and administrator and has served as a member of high-level bodies such as UGC, DST, DRDO, ISRO and AICTE. Professor Pujari has more than 100 publications to his credit and has wide exposure in national and international arena. He has also been associated with University of Tokyo, University of Paris, University of Memphis, Griffith University and United Nations University, to name a few. Sir, we are indeed honored to have you grace us with your presence today. We welcome you. I now invite Professor Arun K. Pujari for the inaugural address.
Thank you for so kind words about me. I'm Professor Gupta, Vice Chancellor of this university, IIS University. Professor Garg, the Dean and Director of IIS University. Professor Gupta, Rakhi Gupta, Director and Registrar, the IIS University Jaipur. Other dignitaries, guests, participants, students and teachers of this university. Good morning to all of you. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank this institution to invite me to this conference first of all, and then raising level a little higher to make me the chief guest and asking me to give the inaugural address. I am not sure, with so many high profile dignitaries around, whether I am the right person to inaugurate and give the inaugural address. I am thankful to the Institute for that honor, and I feel greatly honored for this. I am also thankful to this Institute for one more thing, is that since I joined Central University of Rajasthan recently, this happens to be my first function to attend outside the university. Now, coming to the main theme of the talk, of the conference, which says that higher education in 2025, growth, challenges and opportunities. I'm not sure how much I can cover. This is a very wide, all-encompassing subject, and one starts talking about it, probably maybe a full day also is not enough. So, keeping the time, context, and keeping also in mind that there are many other experts on the subject who will be talking on different aspects, I'll probably dwell upon only the major part or the parts which I am concerned with or which bothers me more. When we talk about higher education in 2025, and sit down, close your eyes and think that what should be the topic on higher education in 2025, then a person naturally asks himself or herself a question that what is higher education in 2015? What was higher education in 2005? So, or in simple sense saying that if you are trying to address a question of the status of higher education in after 10 years, in 10 years time, what is the status today and what was the status 10 years back? Unless we know clearly what it was, what it is, we cannot say what it is going to be. It doesn't matter whether we are talking about growth, challenges, opportunities and many other things. But this is necessary for that. And why is it that we should be thinking that higher education approaches to higher education or higher education institutions or policies of higher educations are going to be definitely different in every 10 years? Is it true? First of all, we should ask, why should it not be that what was there in 2005 is there in 2015 and is going to be there in 2025? Why it is changing? I don't know whether it is changing or not. Probably all of you would be able to ask yourself this question and get an answer. But I feel that besides many other things, the attitude of the people who are imparting higher education and the attitude of the persons who are receiving the service of higher education or the attitude of the decision makers who are designing policies of higher education, all of them are definitely changing their views. And hence, even if the country remains the same, even if the climate remains the same, even if you talk about number of people who are there, the whole concept of higher education keeps changing. And that is precisely going to probably happen in another 10 years of time, as it looks like. I give a couple of examples, or maybe I can start with a small story of emphasizing this. This story is not mine, I have read it somewhere, but since it is not a properly documented story, you know, in these days you browse through the web and get some information here and there and may not be sure from where originally this information has been drawn from. So something of that kind I read, or while traveling you pick up some newspaper and read a story or something. So this story tells the following, that there is an old person who is the father of 3 young persons, and they stay in the village. They used to stay in the village, and these 3 sons used to help the father in cultivating the land. And the father found that the sons are very industrious, very hardworking, and they are able to do this very, very nicely, so that they are very comfortably placed financially and other things. But the father thought that why only this? Why not we do to the next step and do something more? Then what he did is that he said that, look, if you do a little better, I'll give you some kind of prizes, some extra incentive. Maybe a bit of more share of land or something. But what do you want to do? That you have to show me that your production, each son has a 1/3 of the land available to them to do that. So your production is higher or the highest compared to other 2. So what is this person doing now? That he introduced a kind of a competition between three brothers. He also introduced a kind of typical metaphor in English, is that sowing a carrot. That is, he is trying to give some incentive for a successful person. Then what happened that the first son saw that in order to get that, he did not bother about cultivating, but he somehow managed by buying grains from outside and sowing in his godown, saying that, look, I have higher yield. So he stopped cultivating the land and he invested his money on buying more grains and sowed and said that this is what I got from my land and so that this is cultivated. This is the outcome of this. The second brother, what he did is that he put whatever he was doing, he continued to do that. But then he also bought extra land and started cultivating there and added that yield to his own land and showed that this is what my yield of this land. And third brother did not do anything. He continued what he was doing. No change of anything. But then what happened is that these two brothers, first brother and second brother, did not like the third brother. Third brother found that he lost his brother, he lost his relationship with his brother just because of this incompetition. Now, the moral of the story is the following. If there is a policy that is being used to measure the proficiency or performance or something, there are people who will not honestly do the job what is required to be done by them, but they work towards getting that proficiency or a performance to be successful. And even if a person continues to do the job what is required for him to do it, he suffers because he stays in that society. Now that happens, that suppose I put a ranking system on the institutions. There are institutions who will not do what they are supposed to do and they will work towards ranking. There are institutions what they will do is that they will do what they are supposed to do, but they will do an extra bit of things so that they will get a ranking. But those people who continue to do whatever they were also would be there, but there will be a kind of the society or the community that is being built of institutions. The basic fabric of that community will be broken. And if you see one trend of all of them, probably 2005, 2015 and 2025 are going in this direction for whether it is government, whether it is higher education institutions, or whether it is students, whether it is parents, everybody are probably enforcing a kind of performance measure. Everybody is trying to expect an higher education institution to do something of that kind which is affecting the performance of higher education. And that probably is going to be more vividly come out in next 10 years to come. I give a small example, another incident or something which is happening. I don't know how many, I can see that the audience here is graded but mixed in the sense that very, very high level experts in the front row and young students at the last row. But the disciplines I don't know, most likely from multiple disciplines, but as I was told when I came in that this building is of management institution, so most likely the students are from the management side. But then let me tell about one example. In engineering disciplines there is an organization called IEEE. Some of you may be familiar, some of you, maybe it is a general knowledge also, all of you should know. Any activities, like you can see in this conference, the first line say that ICSSR sponsored national seminar. ICSSR is a national body of social science in India, and associating any activities with ICSSR makes that activity a bit prestigious. IEEE is an international body, not necessarily associated with any government, but any association of IEEE with any activities, academic activities, it gains the respect that it is IEEE association. Mostly engineering. I think the E, all these E stands for electrical engineering, electronics, computer science, but that is encompassing many other things. Even IEEE has education as part of this. Now, when I was a student, like very young student doing PhD in IIT Kanpur, that time publishing a paper in a conference which is sponsored by IEEE, or getting a paper accepted in a journal which is IEEE journal was difficult, was tough. And it continued for many years, where it becomes still harder and harder to get papers there. But then once a person gets a paper there, he gets, for that year, he can say that I have published it in IEEE. And that is a respect. Similarly, there are many other agencies. Springer is one. There are many other things. But then, of late, 2005 is your one date of analysis, 2015 is another. Of late, these agencies, in a good intention, encouraged any kind of conference to be associated with them. There is a particular fee to be paid, there is a particular process to be done, and it is encouraged. Their intention of encouraging them, they say that if you put only the top cream and associate them, you are not able to actually bring out people who are newer people to come to that level. But what has happened today? That because there is no quality check by IEEE, but then still there is a society, community where people think IEEE means prestigious. There are higher education players who work it out to get themselves associated with some activities that has an IEEE brand. So in one sense, the agency has their policies, the researchers their policy, people who are recognizing their policies, all of them join together to that story of three sons and the old man. And that is the society itself, the society I am talking about, the academic community itself, institutions by itself, outside agencies by themselves, all of them together or independently, maybe unknowingly, maybe with some intention, are creating situations which is finally resulting in, I would not say bad or worse or better, but definitely something different than what an higher education institution should do or expected to do. I will not, that is a big deliberation that which is better. But that deliberation is separate, but definitely not. So these are the problems that probably one has to take into account or acknowledge before addressing this problem, that growth, opportunity and challenges. But then in any way, I just gave one direction where it is actually happening that way. But there are many. But then when you talk about at the national level, in fact, I would add one more word to this theme of the topic, higher education in India in 2024. Let me talk about this, because I don't think we are talking about higher education in India is different from higher education policies, institutions in other places. So in Indian scenario, let's talk about. certain things which were not spoken few years back, but it is spoken today. They say that I just use those words here. They say that excellence, equity, and employability. They are very interesting three terms, contradicting each other, supporting each other. What is excellence? Excellence means there is a higher education which is competing worldwide, is identified globally. A graduate of a higher institution, excellent higher education institution, is recognized that he can go anywhere, any part of the world, and treated equally with any other top-rated institutions. There is a world ranking system in which it is recognized. So far, I think most recent result is that in India only 2 institutions which are within top 200 of world ranking. So these are the measures of excellence. But then it is agreed upon uniformly, without dispute, that there are 2 major things that is required for reaching excellence in higher education is that, or higher, one is a very high concentration of talent and unlimited resources, or in simple sense, extremely good students, extremely good teachers, and management should be able to give as much money as is required. There should not be any shortage of money. Probably very hard to achieve this both together in an Indian context. But that is what is agreed upon by everybody. The moment you curtail the resources, the moment you curtail the funding, excellence is effective. The moment you compromise on quality of teachers and students, excellence is effective. And probably there are certain institutions, they are very fortunate enough to have enough funding, enough resources, and also good concentration of teachers. But if you look at countries, India, the whole country together, you will find there are institutions where good students go, you will find institutions where there are good teachers. Good students go there maybe because of good teachers sometimes, but not always. If the good teacher is not giving good marks, then they don't go anywhere. And if your father is funding, then your father will not bother about good teacher. They will take, is there a placement there? If the placement is good, they will go. If the teacher is good, they will not go. So but then that is one, good teacher, good students, and sufficient funds. That doesn't happen always. But there are institutions, at least those institutions who have come within that top 200 are comparatively with other institutions have all these 3 better than others. These 3 components are better than any other institution. Then the next point is employability. Employability is one where a higher education institution takes students, train them to a level so that immediately they can get employed, and that is what is their main purpose. So it is almost like a machine where you take students and produce large number of students who are employed. And the performance is measured based on how many graduates are being employed, campus placement. And you have many of them in this country, particularly all engineering colleges, all medical colleges, all management institutions, so-called professional disciplines. Their aim objective is that take students and train them so that they are ready for employment, send them to employment. In that process, what happens, as a byproduct or side product, there may be some teachers who do not subscribe to this even if they are employed there, they motivate some of the students to go for excellence, and some component of the students also do subscribe to not only employment but also excellence. But then mostly they are basically machine, production machine. Then the next one is equity. And you can see this. The one advantage with this employability kind of an institution is that they can be self-financing. In the sense that you can ask that student to pay for his education because you are promising or showing them a possibility of employment, hence they pay, and that money that is generated can be used to sustain the institution. So, in fact, in this Indian scenario, you cannot really try to show that you are making profit, and you cannot make. A bit of profit is always there, but mostly it is for sustaining the institution. You collect the money and train the students and placement, and nobody minds it because they say that, okay, my son is going to be placed after 4 years, so I put him here, and then after 4 years he gets placed. And we have such institutions in large number. But please remember that this is higher education which we are talking about, but this is not going to contribute so much to excellence, but it happens. Some of them still come out for excellence. The next part is equity. Why equity? Government says that with all this, you are not really able to show or reach out to deprived, marginalized category of students who should have access to higher education. So, but then you can see that if you are building an institution for employability, you need money. If the student is not in a position to pay, you can find out bank loan and other thing, but there are still some students who will be deprived of this. If you are talking about excellence, then you need talent, and if you are not reaching that level of talent, you will not secure admission there, so you are deprived of that. So how do you think you can reach out to every student, and can that person have an access to higher education? So there is another category of disciplines in which you know money, easy teaching, and train them, educate them for higher education. Liberal arts is one. But then there also you can possibly do. In fact, for some reason and other, Indian mindset is such that excellence is always in science, technology, employability is always in professional level, and equity is always in liberal arts, political science, history, English, like that they will say, because they don't require any cost. But one can challenge, particularly students can challenge, that who is telling you that political science cannot reach the excellence level? Who is telling that Kathak dance program in that will not reach the excellence level? But somehow Indian mindset is always there. If a child at 10th class is not doing good mathematics, then you immediately brand him that he is not going to be any of this first. But in any case, this is what goes on. The equity takes place. But then equity is one where most of the state universities, state-funded universities, are very good at. Because minimum money, you don't demand money from the students, you have some fixed appointment, but then in that process there is a stagnation, and there is a quality of higher education is also going down there. Now, I very nicely probably told you about the 3 models, but I did not tell you that whether these 3 models are executed within one institution or you need to have 3 different institutions. If you have 3 different institutions, yes, IIT, some of the IITs, Indian Institute of Science, they are in the excellence division. All professional colleges are employability group. All state-funded universities, colleges, affiliated colleges are equity group. Affiliated college placed remotely in a village where God knows whether there is a teacher or not, nobody knows whether the student is coming to the class or not. It is affiliated to some university. How the exam is conducted also is not there. Maybe the teacher comes only on the day of exam and he picks up the answer question and shouts, with a microphone tells the answer to everybody. Everybody writes it and they pass also. This is happening in India anyway. But then it is equity, because that person he has equity says first thing is that access to higher education. If you are providing access to higher education, if that person doesn't want to use sincerely, then we are not bothered about it so much. Or we are not limited with that control to, we do not have that much of power to control, capability to control. But then you can also see that now come about another thing that is going to happen in 2000, which has happened in 2015 and going to happen in 2025, is that establishment of large number of private universities. So private universities are not funded by the government. How should it fund itself? It will definitely fund itself by this employability model. And maybe a component of that can go to the equity model. They may say that, okay, the little bit of profit that is coming out of this margin, we can do it at the equity model. Equity model is very simple, not much of money is required. It is only the salary of the teacher that is important. Otherwise, most of the things are not there. So you can achieve in a private these things. But so far, at least in India, so far, private funding is not for research. They may claim that there is a research funding going on, but even today, there is no, except for one that is happening in that Indian Institute of Science, which is funded by Tatas initially, but the large amount of funding comes from government also. There is no private corporate which funds to reach the level of excellence for research, and if the research is not done, excellence is not done. In fact, without mentioning that happens, but excellence is measured in terms of research impact or output. So, challenge of 2025 is to motivate private funding agencies to pour money for excellence. Pour money without having any hope to get back that money. Because most of the cases they will say that if I am investing 1 rupee, can I get 1.1 or 1.0001? Doesn't matter. But definitely it is not 0.0009. So that is the problem. And the research is such that no accountability at initially how much money you are investing. In fact, today the government attitude has also changed. There are enough government funding. But if you go to a government defense people say we are not interested in funding the fundamental research. You do some research which should come as an useful thing to our defense. Go to biotech, they will say that it should be related to biotech. Now, then who else is going to fund fundamental research? And how do you get, unless you have a bit of freedom in research, you cannot get excellence. So that is one part. So you cannot, but then the other side is what? That if you keep these three together in an institution, then it is viable. Like IIT, as I said, IIT has a component which is supporting equity. IIT has a component which is employability. All the IIT graduates at the BTech level are in the employability model, but IIT also has a component which is excellence. Not many institutions in this country can support to all the three together. Unless it is supported, probably our students are going to be deprived of the good exposure to higher education. But then in addition to this, I'll close with this point. In addition to this, there is one more part that our thinkers, decision makers, everybody is now talking about. And that part is that the question is that why should this come to this employability part? Why should a student will study in Jaipur, very nicely, very good education, and finally being employed by a multinational agency? To be employed doesn't matter where it is, maybe Bangalore, maybe in Hyderabad, maybe in Jaipur, but solving a problem of how is that hotel in Miami functioning, or a call center or a service center for a hotel which is not in India. But outside that campus, something else is happening which he is not aware of. So the main thing today which going to happen in 2025, definitely or important for 2025, is that correlating your education with societal relevance in India. If somebody is talking about digital India, how many universities inside in their curriculum preparing students to address digital India? They are preparing students to talk about something which is being done in US, but they are not preparing students to talk about something which is going in the country, in the society. And that is another direction in which we don't care what is the ranking, how the world is going to talk about higher education, but we definitely care how our higher education graduates should help to make everybody else's life wellness, healthy, enjoyable, and other things. Probably these are the issues, but there are many issues that can be talking about. But I thought I should stop here, and thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Dr. Rakhi Gupta, Registrar, the IIS University, to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you and namaskar. Dr. Ashok Gupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the IIS University, Professor Arun K. Pujari, Chief Guest and Keynote Speaker at the inaugural session, Dr. Subhash Garg, Dean and Director, Center for Research, Innovation and Training at the IIS University, and Dr. Shweta Kastia, Organizing Secretary, all the esteemed invited speakers, participating delegates, and guests in the audience. It's an honor to propose a formal vote of thanks on behalf of the IIS University at the inaugural ceremony of two-day national seminar on higher education in 2025, Growth, Challenges and Opportunities. The seminar has been planned to explore trends and innovations in higher education by way of knowledge sharing. As it is apparent, the initiative has brought together a host of teachers from various disciplines and researchers from across India. I am confident that these 2 days will provide an ample opportunity to one and all to exchange their views and research ideas. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to Professor Pujari for so very kindly acceding to our request to deliver the keynote address. Thank you, sir, for your presence and insights. Your address, sir, today, highlighting the 3 E's that will bring a paradigm shift to the education scenario, has set the tone for the deliberations that are to take place over the next 2 days. However, I would like to add one more E to it, and which is developing entrepreneurial skill, which is the need of the hour at this time when the higher education has to focus on that. I am thankful to all the invited speakers for taking time out of their busy schedule to be here and consenting to speak on contemporary topics in higher education. Thanks are also due to all academicians, delegates and students who have come from far and wide to attend the event. I sincerely hope that your inputs and interactions during the course of this seminar will make new contributions in the field and will be of immense value in times to come. My thanks are due to Dr. Ashok Gupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the IIS University, and seminar patron for his unstinted support and invaluable guidance throughout, which has given the two-day event its present shape. I'd like to congratulate and extend my thanks to Dr. Subhash Garg for taking an initiative and organizing an event on such an apt topic. The smooth conduct of the event would not have been possible without the team spirit of all my colleagues, student volunteers, research scholars, and the technical and support staff. Thanks to them. Lastly, I thank all the media persons whose ample coverage of the seminar will bring this contemporary issue closer to public interest and notice. We also acknowledge the financial support by the Indian Council of Social Science Research, New Delhi. With the hope that this seminar will accomplish all its objectives, I wish it all the best. Thank you all once again.